Arfield. What a volley! Scott Arfield! He's been threatening that recently. And all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end.
Burnley win the next ball. It's Rory now. On the outside. Decent.
He got it! Ashley Barnes with it! What a cross from Rory! And there was Ashley Barnes! And Burnley leading the derby.
Knocks it quickly. Finds Benson in space at the byline. Can Burnley get a goal here? Back for Brownell. Saved by the keeper!
Burnley won it to the end! That is magnificent! They deserve that!
On it by Paul Teller. Off for a hat-trick.
He's got it! Hat-trick for Nathan Teller! Oh, he's on fire at the minute! 3-0 Burnley! It's Nathan Teller's day!
And Burnley are 3 up here. Fantastic derby. Here's Benson. Can he go on the outside? Comes inside. Top shot.
Oh, the goal! Manuel Benson once more! That is top class!
Burnley have done it. Fantastic. Clarets deserve the championship title. They've been the best side throughout the campaign. Burnley have won the second tier. What a fantastic achievement. The players have been magnificent.
Yes, hello everyone and welcome along to the latest instalment of the Turfcast podcast full-time show with me. Just get everyone in. Where's Sam gone? Sam did come in, but he's gone now anyway. Hopefully Sam is back, everybody. He was there a second ago, but now he's gone. But has ruined my flow. What I was trying to say is welcome along to the latest instalment of the Turfcast podcast full-time show. And it is, of course, a special episode of the Turfcast podcast full-time show because it's the Turfcast podcast full-time show after we beat the bastards again. Cheers, everybody. As Chris said yesterday, I'm not going to for 1 second steal his line. The Eustace tears taste absolutely delicious. Cheers, John, for your crying at the end. That made it all that more sweeter. But yes, Burnley dominate East Lancashire again. In fact, I won't even stop at saying East Lancashire. I will just say Lancashire. All right, we haven't played Preston. Well, we have, but we drew against them, and we're not going to play Blackburn this year. And Aki and Morecambe are miles behind, but let's be fair, they're not too close to us, are they? So, yes, Lancashire is claret and blue. And, of course, I am pleased, as always, to say we are joined by some of the lads. I've got Andrew, who you can see in the top right-hand corner. He'll probably say hi in about 10 minutes. Just as Chris says there, Andy, get those hamsters well fed for this one, mate. I've got Chris bottom of the screen, and now I'm going to bring somebody in. I'm going to see whether Chris goes bottom left or bottom right. Where do you think he's going to go? Oh, he's got bottom right. It's Sam. There he is. There he is. We've got Sam as well. That weren't even intended. I didn't even mean to do a big hurrah for Sam, but for some reason when I brought Sam in earlier, when the show started, he'd gone. But anyway, how we doing, boys? Are you all right?
Oh, cannot complain, can we? Cannot complain.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. It's genuinely is getting bored. Well, no, it's not. I'm going to say it's getting boring beating them now, but it's not. It's just getting absolutely fantastic. It's fantastic every single time, and we'll get into the game and stuff in a minute with the boys. And obviously, I want to know how everybody felt. Get your comments coming in, as Suey says there. Up the Clarets, Eustace tears. Yep, like I said, I'm not taking any credit from that. I did steal it off Chris and his fan reaction yesterday. We had 6 fan reactions sent in yesterday, so if you do want to watch them after the full-time show, then feel free. They're all on YouTube. David Logan says, me and Phil Trixie Wilcott were loving leaving the place of misery and listening to the 60-second review. Effing get in there. Great afternoon yesterday to see all those chicken lovers crying. Yes, I did it live at Ewood yesterday, which was awkward, if I could say the least, because some guy could come and stood right next to me when I'm about to do it. I'm like, mate, move. Obviously, I didn't say that to him. I'm thinking it in my head. And I'm thinking, oh, mate, just move. So, yeah, David, if you actually heard me doing it live, then that's pretty class, to be fair. Claret Owl says, evening, Clarets, cracking picture on the holding screen. All we need now is CJ to put pen to paper, and it's a stellar week. And, yeah, we will be talking about individuals later, and CJ Egan-Riley is one of them. Absolutely fantastic yesterday. Scott O'Sullivan says, evening, Clarets, great result on Saturday, but we still need a striker. Who's coming in? We'll leave all transfer chat, probably another show, mate, or maybe towards the end of it. Claret Blue 1882, thank you for actually getting a new picture now, mate, and it's not me anymore. He says, come on, Joe, don't be late for this one. I've been waiting almost an hour. Scott says Joe will be late for his own funeral. GST says, evening all, take it, Joe will be flashing late as usual. Chris, do you want to let everyone know what happened, please, mate? And let them know that it wasn't my fault, please.
Yeah, Joe forgot to send everyone the link, so that's why we're all late.
I knew it. But, yeah, fine. I'll take it. Hooray, says Clarets 82. Murphy Brown, he says we are going to win the league. Evening, boys. Bar, says Rick Williams. Is Trafford leaving, says Chris Briggs. Come on, mate. We're all funny here about the Blackburn game. But to answer your question, no, it's probably not. It will never get boring, says Claret Al. Right, let's go in order of screen then. And as soon as I do that, Andrew picks up his brew. Apologies, mate. And it looks like the hamsters have slowed down a little bit there as well. You didn't go a bit pixelated, but I've committed now, mate. I'll come to you. Your thoughts on the game, please, mate, and the performance, and just everything to do with the game, please, mate. And I believe you watched it in the pub as well. What was that? What was that like? Was it good?
We're good because it were half. Well, I say half Burnley fans, half Blackburn fans. It were full of Burnley fans and then like two Blackburn fans. But I was sat with one of them. My missus' brother-in-law's one of them lot, so he only ventures out twice a year when we play him. But yeah, it weren't the best game. Where it like the performance were good. It weren't the most entertaining, but the only thing that mattered were beating them, and we've done it. So we did well, like defensively, like we were solid. Didn't really give them any chances. We didn't create much ourselves, but again, like the only chance that we've really created, we've put in the back of the net. But yeah, absolutely buzzing. Absolutely buzzing.
Sorry.
No else to say, is there?
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, I just obviously just for those watching on Facebook and listening on the podcast or watching later on, I just thought I'd bring it to Andrew and Chris started laughing because Bell Differs, brilliant name, said, "Why is Andrew recording on Nokia 3310?" Poor Andrew, he's so committed to Turfcast. Like he never. I could do a stream on noon at Christmas Day and he'd be here, and all he does is get shit. But to be fair to Andrew, he takes it on the chin. It's a calculator, isn't it? It says to it. Andrew, what is it? It's probably about an iPhone 6 or something like that, I would imagine. Or is it just a bad internet connection?
Yeah, I'm doing it on my laptop. It's just bad connection.
Oh, God, I think you might need a new laptop then, mate. But all the internet connection, I don't know. But anyway, we'll move on. Sam, I'll come to you next, please, mate. Just hopefully to get, because you do seem to get quite composed when you're talking, and I will quickly put some stats on screen, but obviously everybody can still hear you. They just can't see you. What were your thoughts on the game, please, mate? Because just looking at them stats, Blackburn actually created more than Burnley. Obviously, created better chances of Burnley. Obviously, that's how the XG stat works. They were 0.95 according to FlashScore, whereas we were 0.24, and that's despite us having more of the ball. And I think a lot of that possession we gave up. Well, not gave up, but there was a flurry of Blackburn activity after we scored, and then that skewed it back in their favour. I think in the first half, we had around 60% possession. With that, though, we've only managed 4 shots. 2 were on target. And to be fair, even though Blackburn had 11 shots, they only managed 1 on target. So that just goes to show sort of how poor they are up front. But yeah, your thoughts on the game and the performance, please, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you definitely can, you definitely can sit and talk about the performance and say we weren't absolutely brilliant, but at the end of the day, like we don't care, do we? Like however it happens, we just said we just want to get a win against them lot, because let's be honest, like we are absolutely the pride of Lancashire now. Like we are 15 years and winning the league at their ground. Honestly, you cannot come back from things like that. Like their only argument is that they managed to win a division that we weren't in and bought it about 1 million years ago. Like in the last 15 years, we have absolutely dominated them from start to finishing. And I completely agree. Like statistics wise, may look in their favour. Did you lot once think they were going to score a goal? Because
at no point did I think they were going to lay a glove on us. They had that header at the end, and a bit of a goal-mouth scramble. But other than that, mate, they were awful.
Like I wasn't worried because like even though we were and we weren't, I don't think that they created anything too much. I thought the only thing that I can give them any type of credit for is they actually looked like they could string 2 passes together this time. But the last, however many games we've played against them, I mean, they've been horrendous. So, I mean, anything's an improvement, really, isn't it? But at the end of the day, we're, come away from Ewood again with another win. There's absolutely nothing that they can do now. We are 100% streets above them, levels above them. The one thing that they'll turn around to now is, oh, look at the money Burnley spent. Well, yeah, did it 15, 20, 25 years ago, however long it was, and it wasn't an issue then. So I'm just basking in the tears of all those Blackburn fans now. I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah, it's bizarre though, isn't it? Because they go on about this title that they bought, and now all they do is cry about money and how much I saw a tweet that was doing the rounds from a Blackburn fan. Number one, when you've if they beat us yesterday, the first thing I would have done is logged out of Twitter. I would not have been putting up crying statuses or look at this. You just look pathetic, lads. Put the phone down, have a couple of days off, and come back when it's all calmed down. My main worry going to work on Monday because my line manager's a Blackburn fan. So I could easily just delete Twitter for a couple of days, but then I'd have to see him. But yeah, it's just ironic that it's just ironic from them that they go on about money when they literally bought the title. And I was thinking about it today. Obviously, it's around 30 years ago now. Well, it is. It's 30 years in 2025, isn't it? I think since they won the Premier League, I presume they'll be doing something big for it, and they'll probably be giving it bigger on Twitter again. But obviously, when we won it in 1960, that was 35 years before the 1995. Did you think Burnley fans were going on about the 1960 title win in 1994, the year before Blackburn won it? I doubt it somehow. It's just absolutely ridiculous that they still go on about it.
To add to it all as well, just to add to it all, they are playing a little bit better this season, but a couple of weeks ago, they were 3 points behind us, 4 points behind us. They're now miles behind. They're not even in playoffs anymore. It's just so embarrassing. They're not even in and amongst the rest of the league anymore. They're not even challenging for us. They're not even in the rest of the league. And last season, they were about 14 minutes away from being relegated.
And if they didn't play a team that were clearly pissed on the final day of the season, they would have got relegated.
Exactly.
And Leeds as well. I hope you give your mates some grief for losing to them. Just one of them games, they'd have been gone forever.
Honestly, mate. So to give it the bigger now and be like, look what we did 30 years ago. Like, live in the moment, and I absolutely will be living in the moment.
Yeah, completely agree with that. We are streets ahead of them, like you've said. I'll just quickly give my thoughts before I go to Chris, because Chris will have a different perspective because he was actually working at the match as a journal. So he was looking at it from a journalist's eyes, also with Clarets fans' eyes on it as well. But for me, I completely agree. It makes it sweeter. We weren't at our best. In fact, I don't think we played well at all. I thought first half we were pretty poor. Weirdly enough, I thought Fleming and Humphreys were poor in that first half. I thought Humphreys, I think you said it in the WhatsApp group, Chris, the occasion just seemed to get the better of him. He looked a little bit nervous. He kept making mistakes, giving the ball away, wincing out of challenges. Second half, he was much better, obviously got the assist. And Fleming, I thought in the first half, he was just getting bullied. But having said that, I'm not sure all of it was legal. The amount of times that they were pulling shirts and trying to kick 10 bells of shit out of us, and absolutely farcical the way that they were playing football. But that's what they do. And you're saying they're playing a little bit better this year. Like, they're not even playing. Like, they're just trying to kick teams. Like, that's what they did to Leeds. That's what they tried to do to us. It didn't work against us because you can't kick 10 bells out of Burnley because we'll just give it back. And like Andrew said earlier, the defence is just too good for you to break us down. And you're going to only get like one, maybe two chances in a game. They got that one chance, to be fair, with that header. And a lot of the teams, including Blackburn, they're just not good enough to score that one chance. Whereas we only got the one chance and we are good enough to score it. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. Obviously, I'm buzzing with the win. I don't think we played that well though. Second half we were much better, to be fair, but we only needed that one chance. And at the end of the day, I'm not sitting here crying that the XG weren't higher than what it was and the performance weren't as good as what it should have been. I'm just happy that we won the match, and that ultimately, in a game like any game at Ewood Park, it is all that matters really. Nailed it. Joe says Simon Fisher. I don't remember any of us saying but we won it in 1960 when we were in the doldrums. It's all they have to hang on to. Completely agree. Claret 22 says we also have a considerably better record in the derby now. As 45 wins to their 41. If it wasn't for their 1995 Division 1, then they would be even more embarrassing. And you know what also makes me laugh is a lot of them 41 from their side came in the 1800s. I think when they were like a proper club and we were just starting out. As did the majority of their trophies as well, by the way. Bell Dipper says, I thought Andrew was going to blame the weather on how poor his camera was. To be fair, when Chris first joined it, before we actually went live, he was saying his were lagging, and my immediate thought was, oh no, I hope it's not the weather. But anyway, speaking of Chris, I'll come to you, please, mate. How was it in the press box trying to keep quiet? Because you did say before the match, didn't you, like, watch this, I'll get filled in when we go 1-0 up. I presume you managed to keep relatively quiet or somewhat professional?
Yeah. I just sat on my hand. To be honest, I just sat on one hand because I thought if we score here, like, it's not like at Burnley. If you sit at the back at Burnley, like, you can celebrate and you sat with your own fans. Like, but when you're in there, it's like the Lions Den. Like, if you move in there, you're getting filled in. Do you know what I mean? So, like, when that ball come into the back post, you could see it was coming. Like, he's coming in round the back, and I'm like
100%.
craning my head.
I put my hands on the guy in front of me, ready to celebrate, because I could see the run, I could see the whip. Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Like, it's coming in at the back, and I'm like craning my head, trying to head it in from the press box. And then when it went in, I'm just sniggering under my breath. But yeah, it was tough just to keep quiet. But like the game as a whole, I thought first 15, I said to you, like, in the chat before, I thought Humphreys was like overall by the first half. I think as a team, first 15 minutes, like, and you expect it in a derby, like we did the same to them when they come to us. It's like blood thunder. It's like, who's up for it here? 15 minutes, you're feeling each other out, and they were more up for it. I thought we were kind of on the back foot, but then as soon as we weathered that first 15 minutes and we come to the party, we just controlled the game for 75 minutes. We just controlled it. They had a few like forays for, but they didn't do anything, did they? Like, they created that one chance, the header, that he should have had it on target at least. But for 75 minutes, it was just complete control. I will give them some credit, and I don't think you can even take this as a compliment, to be honest. But I do think they dragged us down to their level a little bit.
I think that's what they do. That's the Eustace style of play.
Yeah,
pull shirts, drag teams down to their level, because they know on paper they're not as good as at least half of the teams in this league on paper in terms of quality. So they drag teams down to their level and turn it into a slog. And I agree. I think they did that for the first half.
Yeah, I think I think the biggest compliment you can pay them is that they're that bad. They dragged us down to their level a little bit, where it become a battle, and that's what they wanted to do. But I don't think they accounted for the fact, like, we're not bothered if a game goes that way now. It doesn't matter to us. Like last year, we probably would have got bullied off the pitch. This year, we won't get bullied off the pitch because we've got players like the midfield three. They'll put himself about. Fleming, to be fair, yesterday, we know he's not a striker, but he battled as well as anyone on that pitch. The two centre-halves will put himself about. Humphreys, all right, first half he was poor, but second half he was great. Roberts, he's just a little house at right back. He'll put himself about. You got Trafford punching crosses. You can't just rain balls in on him anymore because he'll punch him away. Like, this team's just completely changed. You can't bully us anymore. So try and drag us down to your level. You might, but you're not going to battle us off the pitch. And then if you want a game, we'll beat you anyway. So they're in a lose-lose situation. Doesn't matter what you do to us when they play us, we'll beat you just because we've got better players. And you said before about, I don't even know who it was it Baker who missed a header for them? You get one chance. We'll give you one chance. And yesterday we had one chance, and we've just got the players to take it. Like, games like that, they're about moments. You get one, we get one. We didn't take it at Borough, we didn't take it at Stoke, and we took it yesterday. Like, every game we've been in that we've drawn, we should have won. Like, we've just had that one moment where you think, we should have won that. It's just about taking them, and we've got the players who will take them, and that's what it was about yesterday, getting the points. And no one's going to remember in 10 years' time when we look back and they still haven't beaten us. No one's going to remember that day and say, God, like, we had one chance that day. We didn't play very well. Everyone just remembers it as a win, so it's immaterial.
Yeah, completely agree. I'll take a poor performance and a win. Like I said earlier, it makes it even sweeter that we didn't even play that well and they still couldn't beat us. Paul Dickens says they totally tried to bully Cullen. They completely did as well, because there was one moment when they actually took his shirt off. Now, I didn't see it, to be fair, because it was at the Blackburn end, and obviously the away fans are in the Darwin end, but I presume it was on TV because a lot of people are talking about it. Like, they just ripped the shirt off over his head. Absolutely ridiculous. That's all that they could do, to be fair. Kieran Martin says, remember, is it pronounced Gay like the other one? What was going to rip us apart? I did see some people saying that some Blackburn fans saying he was going to turn into prime Benzema when the Dingles came to town, is what he said. If anything, I think he's slower than Andrew's hamster on the internet wheel, to be fair, because he looked absolutely awful yesterday. I wouldn't. And it's an absolute travesty, by the way, to the number 9 for any nine ever that he wears a number 9 on the back of his shirt. Absolutely awful. I do want to mention this comment as well, because I do want to quickly come into this, and I've got some pictures on not a controversial incident, because we did win in the end, but I think we should have had a penalty. Kurt Lehman says, that bloody referee, though, I expected a major error and somehow it never happened. If Campbell had got in that penalty area. To be fair, mate, I do feel like the referee got a lot wrong, so I'm glad you've mentioned that. I was whinging quite a lot about the referee in our, on Twitter and in our WhatsApp group, weren't I? So, yeah, I do think it was awful. But for me, and I shouted for it at the time because it was in the Darwin end, I do feel like we should have had a penalty. And I shouted for it at the time, and I remember thinking, I'm probably shouting for it because I'm a Burnley fan sort of thing. It's not even that much. But obviously, Chris, you said as well at the time, obviously having the vantage point, and I presume you get replays and stuff there as well. Yeah. It's been a while since I've sat in any press box, never mind the Blackburn one. Funny about just going back to saying what you said. I remember once I was there when they drew with Derby once, long time ago, probably more than 10 years ago now, and I had to do the same when Derby scored. So yeah, I always wonder like how you do it as a Burnley fan. But yeah, I've now seen it back since. We'll just quickly look into it. I'll come to you first, Andrew. I will have to unmute your mic though, because I was hearing echoes, so we'll see if that's still there. But get your comments coming in as well. Because this comes from a cross just before we score, on 5 minutes before we score or so. It's a free kick after that big brute up front clatters through Cullen. Absolutely ridiculous challenge. Just goes right through him. And the ball is just being whipped in now as this is taken. Take a look at number 19 in the middle of your screen now, Fleming. I'm not sure who it is that's got hold of him, but as you can already see there's a Blackburn player who's got hold of him. It's already shaping up to be a foul. You have to let go of him there at this point, or it's going to be a foul. This is a little bit further on. Fleming has now been dragged down. He's still got hold of him. As you can see, he's holding there, pulling his shirt, and got his hand round the front, ready to pull his shirt. And there, Fleming's in front of his man, and he's still pulling his shirt. 100% guaranteed, and I know not a lot of people want VAR, but I do think it would have helped us out a little bit yesterday. 100% guaranteed, if that was in the Premier League, that's a penalty, because it's a blatant foul. And I know I might sound a bit hypocritical being a Burnley fan, and we played this way in the Premier League for so long, but I hate it when teams just all they want to do is kick 10 bells out here. Because we might have been defensive, but we weren't like that. We didn't play 10 bells, try and kick 10 bells out of teams all the time. So for me, I'm pretty convinced that's a penalty. Andrew, I'll come to you. What do you think on that?
I think if it's a pen, it's a soft pen. I mean, like, it's them lot, so I want it to have been a pen, but if it's a pen, it's a soft pen. It's still a contact game. You know, you can still, or supposedly you can still put in challenges. But the fact that the refs then given a free kick to them, that's what completely baffled me. Right?
How is it a free kick to them? Even if you don't think it's a pen, that's fine. But in what world is it a free kick to them?
And the fact that, I mean, they were at it from the first minute, though, weren't they? Like, this stamped on Stormy Anto's back of his heel. Like you said, taking Cullen's shirt off. I was literally screaming in pub going, if he took his own shirt off, he'd get booked for that. So why is it not a booking for him to take his shirt off? But, like, you can literally see him have hold of Fleming, pulling his shirt, and you can even see Fleming's underarm, like, completely coming out. It just, I think it would have been a soft penalty, but it should have been for the rules that they are. Does that make sense? Like, the rules are stupid. It's been soft, but for the rules that there are, it should have been a penalty. And if the ref can't see it because there's so many players in front of him, the linesman should be able to see it. But it weren't a free kick. Like, I just can't get my head around how it's a free kick to them.
I genuinely believe the referee, I'm not saying he was as an agenda or anything, but I don't know if he was doing it for the good of the game, but I genuinely believe he had sort of like an allegiance to Blackburn for whatever reason. He gave every 50-50. He let everything go when they were throwing us to the ground, and then stuff like that, he was giving it to them. It was just, I was getting pretty annoyed at the referee as the game went on. Obviously, that subsided a little bit when we got the goal. But I was even thinking, like, the referee's going to ruin this for us here, because you need a good referee in a game like this against a team like that, and we didn't have one. Called Unknown says even the commentary said it should have been a pen. He was dragging it to the ground like he was. I'm not going to read that last bit. I didn't even realise he said that. Twin Cities Claret says even the TV commentator said it was a clear pen. There you go, Called Unknown. That's clearer. That's how you do it, mate. Rick Williams, it's Danny Bath on him, I think. Defo a pen in the Prem. Exactly. Simon Fisher says, tell me how Fleming has fouled Bath there. I don't get it, mate. Barmer, they're just guessing. They're genuinely just guessing. Brian Gott says, tackle on Sarmiento could have been a red. You know what? I know you just mentioned that one there, Andrew, but I haven't seen that one back yet, to be honest with you. I don't think it's in any of the highlights packages that I've seen yet.
No,
but he says, tackle on Sarmiento could have been a red. Bad for both teams. Was a ref. Loren could have been sent off. I remember actually you saying that, Chris. You did say Loren was a lucky boy at one point in the WhatsApp group, but again, I've not seen that back. I think it was Bath who had hold of Fleming. Hinchcliffe said he went down too easy, a penalty all day long. What does Hinchcliffe know? I'll come to you next then, Sam. Paul Dickens says 100% a penalty. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's soft, or do you think it's a penalty?
I think it's a penalty. I think I agree and disagree with what Andrew said. I agree with I disagree with the fact that I think it's just I don't think it would have been a soft penalty because of the amount of shirt that he had and for the length of time, because he had it from the start of the box into the box. Fleming was goal side of him the whole way through. It wasn't like he just got in front. He was in front of him from the start. And then as he goes down, the only thing that I can say from Fleming's perspective is he kind of kicks his legs up rather than just falling naturally as if someone's pulling your shirt. So I think there's an unnatural fall. But then to agree with what Andrew says, I think based on the rules of the game, if you have hold of a player's shirt from outside of the box into the box, and then the contact and then you end up pulling them down from holding onto the shirt, that's a penalty. You can't have hold of somebody's shirt. But then to caveat that again, the whole game we had somebody pulling shirts. The whole game we had somebody putting in a little niggle of a tackle in. The referee yesterday missed everything. He gave everything on Campbell. Campbell got about 15 fouls on him. Honestly, the geezer was one of the worst players on the pitch yesterday and somehow managed to get the most fouls. It was ridiculous. That referee was giving us absolutely no help. And I completely agree with what somebody said in the chat about the Laurent situation. He should have had a red card. There's absolutely no doubt about it. That was his third or fourth foul in the game. He'd already been let off with another foul after getting his yellow card. That one was so blatant of stopping a counter-attack. But in the grand scheme of things, we had not only a penalty that should have been a penalty, but I'm just going to say their awful number 9 because I don't know how to say his name. Their awful number 9, like, threw a hand at Connor Roberts as well. In the laws of the game, it's violent conduct. You can't put your hands anywhere near a player, and that he can do it, and the referee just missed it and just went, oh, free kick, Connor Roberts, like, sort yourself out. Like, there was no consistency from any of the decisions that were actually getting made. I completely agree with you, Joe. I thought that the referee was so focused on trying to keep the East Lancashire derby, keeping it at boiling point and don't let it bubble over, but somehow managed to make it so frustrating for one team and one set of fans. He gave everything to Blackburn. They had every decision. They had every little niggly free kick. How on earth you can pull someone's shirt clean off the body and just literally just put the ball back down, starting corner again? How can you pull someone's shirt off in the middle of a football match? And then, karma is what it is. Lewis Baker, failed Chelsea reject, couldn't hack it at Middlesbrough, ends up at a small club and manages to not finish his dinner later on. So for me, they got exactly what they deserved. They had one game plan, and it was to try and kick Burnley. We showed that we have the resilience under Scott Parker, and Scott Parker can set up a team in the right way. I think he absolutely. I had a lot of criticism for him last week. I think he absolutely got his team selection spot on. I think in the first 15, 20 minutes, I think the team was a little bit kind of playing the occasion a little bit more. I don't think we were as settled as we have been in previous years because of where they are in the league and their performance recently, and obviously how we've come off the back of 2 pretty disappointing draws. I think it just added to the occasion. But for me, like going back to all of that, amongst everything that got thrown at us yesterday, we came away with the win, 15 years and counting, and it's going to stay that way because we are the pride of Lancashire. There's no doubt about it.
Yep, the proof is in the pudding, mate. We definitely are. Chris, I'll come to you then, mate. Obviously, I already know your opinion on the penalty, but if you could just sort of like, well, I guess you might have changed it over the last day or two. But if you just chat to everybody and let me know what you thought on the penalty situation, obviously that I showed the stills from earlier on Zian Fleming, and of course the referee's performance.
Yeah, I think the ref got pretty much all the big decisions. I think he got wrong. Like the penalty stonewall. Like I said, I kind of agree with Sam. I feel like the reason he doesn't give it is because of the way Fleming like goes down. Like if you have your shirt pulled back, like naturally you're not like throwing yourself forward, if that makes sense. And I know that's how everyone goes to the ground, but I think when you react like that, you don't help yourself. But sometimes it's the only way to get him, and most refs do give him. He didn't yesterday, and how he give it the other way, I've got no idea. The one with someone mentioned it in the comments with Baker on Sarmiento, that is nasty. It's nasty, and he got away with it because he played on. He played on, and then he didn't even talk to Baker. He spoke to Campbell. He went to the wrong player. That's how bad this guy was. He went to the wrong player, and it's right down the back of his Achilles. And someone said before with VAR, like it was borderline. It was borderline. It was a bad one. But then Baker, bare minimum, it was a yellow. And then Baker ripped Cullen's shirt off in the box. How that's not a yellow, you don't know. 2 yellows, red. But, Laurent's lucky. He's already on a yellow. And then again, like the counter-attack saved Baker, the counter-attack saved Laurent because they went and countered with Campbell and he gave a bad pass away, like one of many on the afternoon. But he kind of like saved him by playing the advantage because he'd have sent him off. If he'd have blown up, he'd have had to have sent him off. So I just think he got everything wrong. Listen, some were in our favour, some weren't. Well, one was in our favour, should I say. The others weren't. But, we've come away with the points, and it was I just felt like it was a perfect dose of, like, footballing karma. Sounds stupid, but Fleming goes down for the pen, don't get it, pops up with a winner. They have one chance. Baker, who shouldn't even be on the pitch, puts it wide. Like, if that's not justice, as Phil Bird says, then I don't know what is.
I think Simon Fisher's probably got it spot on here. He says, the refs set out to keep 22 men on the pitch, which is admirable, but you also have to ref the game in front of you. He mismanaged it. And I think that's probably the we've just spent 20 minutes talking about it, and you've summed it up in 2 lines, mate, but that wouldn't be a great podcast, would it, if we just summed it up in 2 lines? However, I have quickly just been searching it, and I now have managed to find it. I'm not sure on the legalities, obviously, of showing it. So at the risk of demonetising the stream or getting it taken down, I'll just quickly put a share up from this. You can see the stamp there. Again, it's not the best in terms of resolution for you guys, but you can just see the stamp there on the back of Sarmiento's leg, and I have just played it. You just go to that. I'll just quickly scroll back up again for you. There you go, Dango DT Goer 93. If you want to see it after the show, of course, or leave the show on and go and see it on a different tab. Just play it on there. It clearly stamps on the back of his leg, and it is pretty nasty. But I'm not going to be showing you the Laurent one because I don't particularly care. But no, I do agree. I thought it was bad for both
that
teams.
Foul as well. That foul there. All I'm going to say is that is exactly what Zareri got a red card for against Kyle Walker first game of the season.
Yeah,
it's exactly. It's identical. So
I think probably now I'm thinking about it, there's a Rory one probably lunges more, but there's contact is in the same place with the same.
It's going back down the Achilles, isn't it? Like that's what it's for. I think I know what you mean about the diving into it, but like then you also have to factor in that game. Sarmiento's breaking away from their attack where they're all out of position, and he stops that by doing that. Like so, for me, he's looking to be on the pitch anyway, as well as Chris says, and like I've said, him ripping his shirt off as well. Like he just got what we're coming to him anyway, which is us winning. So
that as well, though. That foul was like 100. In the first 5 minutes of the match as well. Like, and I think that's what set the tone for the match. If you can get away with that, you can get away with ripping someone's shirt off. You can get away with pulling them all out.
Yeah, exactly. It completely sets the tone. Yeah, it completely sets the tone. Sui says Baker didn't even do a single foul for the entire game officially, by the way. So I think the answer to that, Lee Greenwood, is no. He says, did he even get a yellow for that? But evidently not. But Chris Briggs over on Facebook actually says the ref had a good game. I think you're the only person out of the 25,000 there was there, because obviously it was a bumper crowd because Burnley were in town. Opened the Blackburn end top tier for the first time since 2018. Sold out the home stand at the home part of the ground, or the majority of it, for the first time in probably about 20 years. But yeah, I think you're probably the only person that does think that. Called unknown, actually. I'm glad you've just said this, Mike, because he says, on a side note, is there a better goal to score than a full-blooded flying header? I mean, I'm not going to answer that question in itself, mate, but it is a good goal to score. All right, I'll quickly answer it. I do think a thunder twatter volley is a little bit better myself, but it brings us on nicely to the goal, and that's why I put it on the screen, mate, because I have prepared myself this time. I'm actually going to bring the goal in on screen. So if any YouTube buffs are watching this and think I'm going to demonetize this stream now, then please don't. But it's obviously a fan footage. This isn't mine. It was sent in to me by I can't remember the name of the person who sent it in. I will quickly get it up on my screen so I do not offend them. In fact, I'll tell you what, I'll play it first. But here is Fleming's goal, filmed from the Darwin end. Oh, I love them clips, mate. I do sometimes try and get them myself, but I just can't get my phone out all the time on a match. I just want to concentrate on it. I will then sometimes whip it out. I did get the name of the guy. Thank you to James North for sending that in. Absolutely brilliant goal. And I want to talk about the goal. Chris, I'll come to you first on this one. Humphreys, brilliant crosser of the ball. I would not have expected that for somebody who is naturally a centre-back, a left-sided centre-back. Obviously, he's been playing out of position a little bit recently, but he has been absolutely fantastic on that left side of the defence, in my opinion. Not the first name on the team sheet, but the first left-back on the team sheet is what I was going to say. It's his position to lose now. Absolutely fantastic. Solid again yesterday in that second half, but an absolute whip. And what a header from Fleming. Great goal, weren't it, mate?
Yeah, I think even though Humphreys is a centre-half by trade, I think when they've come through at these like big academies and they've come through at Chelsea, Egan Riley's come through at City and that, they've just got this natural ability on the ball where, like, even though they're centre-halves, they can just do anything with it. So, like, it's not a surprise to see him, like, plant the cross on his head. He planted one on Brownhill's head, I think, at Borough a few weeks ago too. So it's not, like, a great surprise. I think the main thing for me was, like, Fleming to come in round the back. He's, like, stretching for it. One, to direct it the way he did, and two, to keep it down. Like 99 times out of 100, I think they go like wide of the post that he's coming towards. He's like going away from it and gets it back across goal. It's just a fantastic header to ghost in. And like, it was a recycled cross as well. The first cross from, was it Anthony, come all the way across the face? So like they're all over the shot. All it needs is one good ball. Humphreys puts the ball in and it's just a great header. Like when he said, the comment said before, is it the best way to score a goal? It's not, but everyone loves, like, there's something beautiful about a diving header, like coming in at the back post and diving in front of the, like, a half capacity away end, shall we say, but we won't go into that. Like, it was just a great goal. I think from, like, the cross, the header, like, it was just fantastic.
Yeah. What did it look like, the celebrations? Obviously, we've said already you were in the I don't know what their main stand is called. You were in the press box. What did that look like from your point, mate? I bet it looked class. Yeah,
it was unbelievable. Like, I was just sat there and thinking, like, wow. Like, I said on Twitter, and like, I'm taking some like stick off Blackburn fans because they think I'm an Ewood regular for some reason, but I'm not. And it's like, I see probably like 100 games live a season, and I've been doing this job for years now, and I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. Like, I just think the occasion of it as well, like, you couldn't even see the aisle in the stands. I don't know whether that was just the angle I had. It looked like people stood in the aisles. It was just rammed. Whether people have jibbed in, I don't know. I wouldn't like to say, but it was absolutely rammed. Like, it just looked like people everywhere. And then the song after it, the Staying Down Forever, I think that's the loudest song I've heard from an away end in, don't know, maybe ever. I don't know what it was. Maybe and I'm not biased. Like, if it, like, anyone on here will know, like, if like Burnley have been bad, I'll say they've been bad. So, like, I'm not just making this up to big the club up, but genuinely was, like, ear-piercingly loud. Because before that, I actually think it was relatively quiet. There wasn't, like, I wasn't in the away end, so I don't know, but it just seemed like a bit, like, subdued. It weren't that loud, but then after the goal, like, for 5 minutes after it was loud. But I just, when I'm sat there, like, sat on my hands, I'm just, like, wishing I'm behind the goal.
Yeah, like I said, it used to be something I used to do, and I only ever covered like 2 or 3 Burnley games, and I hated it. I loved the job, but I hated not being able to be in the fans.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like, when I do the Burnley games, it's not bad because I'm sat with the Burnley fans. Like, if you get up when they score, no one's bothered. They're just like, oh, what was it like? They'll just ask you what's the replay, or like, no one's bothered. But last year, like, say we played Brentford, and when they scored, it kicked off because their analysts were celebrating. So, like, you've got to pick and choose when you do it. Like, if you do it at your own team, it's fine. But if you do it at Ewood, I'd have just got filled in.
Yeah. Kieran Phillips, Sam's best friend, says, apart from the goal, Fleming was absolutely awful yesterday. Knocked off the ball far too easy. Can't hold the ball up. Really need to get him in that number 10 role. We discussed that a bit before you joined, mate, to be fair. We were saying that I don't think the majority of what Blackburn were doing was even legal, to be fair. But I were quite frustrated with Fleming in that first half. And I think I even said to you boys in the group chat, didn't I, saying it might be time to bring Barnesy on because he wouldn't get bullied as much. But obviously I'm glad in the end that we didn't. Just sticking with the goal, though, because I want to come to you next, Andrew. What I love most about this goal, and this is the screenshot here, as Humphreys, you can just look at the bottom, kind of like the bottom left quadrant corner of your screen. You can see the ball is just leaving Humphreys' foot. But if you look all the way to the other side of the screen, look where Fleming is there. He's not flat-footed. He's on his tiptoes, but he's not even set off on his run yet. And that's my favourite part of this goal. He's seen that there. He knows that Humphreys is going to whip it in a certain area. And I think they did an interview on Sky Sports afterwards saying, me and Zian practice these. We know where each other's going to go. So I knew where he was going to go with practicing them. And that's where he's going there. As soon as Humphreys whips that, you can see Fleming at the other side of your screen there. He's not even made the run. And he makes the run, obviously, to connect with the header and score a fantastic goal. What were your thoughts on that goal, mate?
Yeah, like I said, they've said on Sky after that they've practiced them. And I think you can sort of see that Fleming's been practicing them himself anyway, because I think where his goal against Hull, that were like a whipped-in header, weren't it? So, yeah, it's a good goal. And to go back to, like, when you guys were talking about the atmosphere behind the goal, like, I think the fact that they've not given us as many tickets has made that atmosphere look better. Like, all right, it'd have been amazing if there were 7,000 of us behind goal celebrating, but the fact that there's not as many and the limbs that you still get just made it, for me, it just made it look all more better on Sky.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's just a great goal, isn't it? Like I said before the game, I'd be happy if it were 1-0 and it went in off the referee's arse. You know, like, I don't care how the ball goes in back at net against them lot, but it's a great cross from Bash. It's a brilliant dive from Zian. You say as well, just with his movement.
Just to come in, I want to quickly put another screenshot in. I've just quickly done it now. Obviously, that's the bit there where Humphreys is crossing it, Andrew, and has his head in it. You can see how much he's moved there, how much space he's ran into. Just everything about that goal, like Mike said earlier in the comments, it's just a great goal to score a diving header like that, to get on the end of such an absolute whip from your fullback. It's an absolutely brilliant goal.
Yeah, and I think, like I say, you can see that they have been working with it. You can obviously see that they've been working on stuff like that, and he's just on it, isn't he, Fleming? And everyone else seems to not leave it, but sort of know that ball's going to Fleming and he's going to be there to knock it in. And yeah, it's just brilliant. And I think as soon as it went in, well, not as soon as it went in, but like not long after, I sort of had to check where he'd come from, because obviously I made a picture of him scoring. And like, please tell me he's Dutch, please tell me he's Dutch, just to get the Flying Dutchman thing, because absolutely buzzing.
Yeah, really good goal. Sam, obviously, your thoughts on that goal, please, mate. I mean, I think you watched it in the pub as well, didn't you? Or with your old man. I bet that atmosphere was buzzing, even though you were, I presume, out in Leeds as well, which is obviously where you live. But yeah, absolutely great goal, weren't it?
Yeah, mate. I mean, the old man hates watching football with me because I just can't. I can't sit on my hands. Even if I were doing Chris's job, I'd be on rafters. But no, I mean, honestly, that goal just needs screenshotting and hanging in the Louvre, mate. Because honestly, it is absolutely just pure poetry, that, innit? Like, oh, Burnley come to town, don't play well. Look how much money they've spent, and you know the quality of player from that money that we've spent as bagged as a goal in the derby. So for me, I mean, you know, honest, I'm just buzzing regardless. I mean, you know, I think what added to this game was the way that they've been playing has given them some kind of weird false sense of arrogance of like where they are in the league, and like, oh, you know, they're back to where they believe that they should be, even though, you know, in my head they're like a League Two team. You know, they literally were coming into this game thinking this is our best chance to do Burnley in, and they haven't managed to do it. And honestly, it just once again, Ewood is Burnley's playground, and you know, Humphreys and Fleming are messing about doing diving headers. I'm all for it, mate. Like, you know, it's a fantastic goal. It's something that Fleming's really adding to his game. You're seeing it more and more. I think there's still areas of his game that are still iffy. I still think there's elements as to why we still need another striker. I know we've brought Barnes in and things like that, but I genuinely feel that's more like a personality hire in the nicest possible way to Ashley. I do think he's a fantastic. I do think he's a fantastic player, and he's done a lot for us. But I do still think we need to be in for a proper out-and-out striker, because if we can get it now, like we thought we had with Foster, if we manage to get to the Premier League, I don't want to be. You don't want to be having this conversation again in 6, 7, 8 months' time about we need another striker again. But it's something that he's really adding to his game. He's clearly an aerial threat. He's clearly got a rocket on him as well. So yeah, I'm still very much not on that side of it, force him into the 10 role to
Parker, stop doing that.
Run further back, but I'm very, very, very pleased with what ended up being a fantastic goal, and all that will do for Fleming is give him a whole lot of confidence that I think he needs as well, because he can add a lot to this team. I think obviously with the playing out of position and things like that, the first touch and the quick passing gets highlighted more, and especially when it's in games like the Borough game and all these other games where we don't manage to score. So I think for him that does him a world of good, and for us that just made my weekend. So yeah, I'm sweet with that.
Yeah, so you did say you need to get the picture and hang it in the Louvre. Well, there is that.
Get it in there.
Absolutely fantastic. You just see him there. Obviously, just finished the diving header. Danny Bath knows exactly where that's going. Brilliant header. Loren watching on. Sorry, not Loren. Anthony watching on. Fantastic. It's such a good picture and such a good goal. Like, genuinely, it's just the way it went in. Everything was just brilliant about it. But let's get into individuals then, because I've got that usual thing where I'm starting work at 8 tonight, so we do need to start looking at wrapping up sometime before then, ideally. I want to talk about CJ Egan-Riley. Now, we'll get into man of the matches later, but he was absolutely fantastic, was Conrad. Absolutely brilliant. Andrew, I'll come to you first, please, on this one. What were your thoughts on CJ Egan-Riley, and any shouts for any individuals that you feel need to be highlighted?
He were brilliant. Like, I think we all know how good Esteve is. Like, we all know how good he is. And I think Egan-Riley's obviously come into the team this year with not a lot of expectation, because he didn't really get a chance under Company. Like, he was one of Company's new shiny toys, and then as soon as he got someone else, he sort of discarded him. So he's come in with like us not knowing a lot about him. Obviously, I know Chris knew quite a bit from doing his job. But he's come in and he's just been absolutely brilliant. Like, at the start of the season, I was thinking, I can't wait for Bayer to be back. I can't wait for Ekdal to be back. These other defenders that we've got. And at the minute, none of them are going to get in the team, because Egan Riley was he's up there as good as Steve for me. Like, we have the best centre-back partnership in the league, because them two are absolutely solid. And I don't think there's been a single game this season where either of them haven't given us at least 8 out of 10. Like, they've both been absolutely solid all season. So, yeah, he's just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think the only thing is, for me, I think CJ and Esteve are different types of defenders, but I think they work brilliantly as a partnership.
Yeah,
and I completely agree.
Really well.
I do feel like they are the best centre-back pairing in the Championship, but as I did say on one of Jacob Horsfall's tweets yesterday, you probably are always going to back your own defenders. Leeds fans have backed their own defenders, but I mean, if it weren't for Meslier, that they might have a decent defensive record, but I think our defensive record speaks for itself, to be honest with you. Harry says, get CJ on a new deal ASAP. CJ Egan Riley, 350k from City. Cheapest chip, says Clark 1882. Clara Al says CJ was immense. So he says, do you think CJ will extend or change his arm as a free agent? Ray Moorhead says, CJ has been the big bonus of this season. Looks so confident on the ball and defends so well. Like, what I was saying earlier about him being a different sort of defender, like, I expect Esteve to go through players and just clatter them and stuff. Like, he's really good at that side of it. But I'm not saying CJ is bad at it. He is still good at that. He does make some good tackles, and there was that counter-attack early on that Blackburn had. I think it was early on. Was it the first half? I can't remember. But Blackburn had a counter-attack early on, which he stopped with a brilliant interception. GST says CJ is a proper jewel in the crown. Lee Greenwood says CJ is as good as Steve, both Premier League quality. I agree with that, to be fair, mate. Chris, I'll come to you next, please, mate. Your thoughts on CJ and his performance yesterday?
Yeah, he was fantastic. It's like, even his passing, like he passes like Pirlo, like it's unbelievable the way he pings them diagonals. Like, maybe Pirlo's a bit far-fetched, but his passing's unbelievable. Like, he passes like a centre midfielder but defends like a centre back. Like, there's actually nothing negative you can say about him. Like, maybe the only perhaps negative you look at is maybe like he'd struggle like with his athleticism in the Prem when it's a bit faster, but he reads the game that well. It doesn't even matter. Like, you come up against these tricky, like, quick plays in the Championship, he just reads the game that well. Like, when you say about him bailing someone out yesterday, I think it was the first half he made like an interception as it went forward. I think you're right. But he does that every week. Like, he's just always in the right position to cut balls out. And even yesterday, you're looking at him thinking like, well, he's not probably a centre back by trade, but like, he's heading everything out the box towards the end. Him, Steve, and the other fella who come on, John Egan. They're just heading everything away. Like, I don't know how many headed clearances he made yesterday, but he was just on the end of everything. Like, he's a big lad. He can defend. He can pass. So, like, in the modern game, you actually can't ask for anything more from a centre back than Egan Riley. And he's, they are slightly different. I do agree, but they're along the same lines, and like, they're both big lads, defend, but they can play as well. Like, Egan Riley's a better player than Esteve in terms of like ball playing, I think. But they can both play. Like, you couldn't ask. They complement each other perfectly. Right foot, left foot. Like, there's actually nothing more you can ask from the pair of them. And like, I don't think anyone really knows when Egan Riley's out of contract. I think it's next summer, isn't it? I think we ended up.
Well, it's, you know what? Somebody messaged me and said he's out of contract this summer, and I said no, he's not. It's next summer, and they sent me a screenshot of something which said this summer. So I went on the Burnley website, and when we announced it on the website, we said signed until the summer of 2025, but they tweeted the summer of 2026. It's not like Burnley FC to get things wrong. So then I went on Transfer Market, that said 2025. I went on BBC Sport, that said 2025. So I think there is a bit of confusion out there about it, and I think I might have caused that a little bit because I did tweet about it earlier. But it's, I mean, I guess we can find out just by asking the question, but it's whether the club answers again.
I think you probably find like you'll have an option. The club will have some option. Pretty much every deal now, they have an option in it to cover himself. Like, even Nathan Redmond's got an option this summer. So like, If Nathan Redmond's got one,
that might be the confusion. Yeah,
I'd imagine it's till 2025, and they've got an option for another year. But if he doesn't sign another contract, I'll be amazed. And I don't have any inside knowledge, but I'll be amazed if he doesn't sign.
Definitely has inside knowledge. Lee Greenwood says they both read the danger well, but cover for each other. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Sam, you were nodding when I mentioned CJ Egan-Riley, so I presume you're just going to wax lyrical about him and completely agree with me that he was absolutely fantastic yesterday.
Yeah, I thought it was rubbish, to be fair. No,
I knew it. That look on your face.
No, genuinely, like he is. You know, I am also guilty of being a little bit underwhelmed when I saw his name on the team sheet, and then not this game, but when he first came into the team, and then obviously he made a couple of little mistakes at the start where you kind of thought maybe this is why he didn't get played. But since then, he has been so consistent, so good in the air for not the tallest centre-back in the entire world. He is able to play those diagonal balls over the top so well. His ability to drive into midfield as well and drill those passes into midfield as well is very similar to what we saw from Howard Bellis, which was somebody who was willing to get the ball and drive and take us, you know, through the motions a stage further up the pitch. And I think him and Steve just work so perfectly together, like so perfectly. I don't think that there is. I don't think there's a better, you know, a better centre back partnership in the Championship right now. I don't think there's a better back four. And I also think statistically speaking as well, and I know not everything in football is statistics, but statistically speaking, they are the best back four, back five. And do you know what I am going to say back five, because James Trafford again is another player. I know there's links, and I think it's all very lazy journalism, because obviously there were links at the start of the season. I think there will be something in him obviously being the player that he is and coming with the expectation that he has, you know, for that to be a thing. But I can't see Burnley selling a key fundamental part of the team this month at all. But he deserves so much credit as well, because his passing ability has changed so much. His ability to you know, to miss the centre halves now, and I don't feel nervous for that ball into Laurent or Cullen to get it out to a fullback. I don't feel nervous. I don't feel like he's going to put the midfielders under pressure. I think I just feel like he's really come into his own into that position, and he's arguably been one of the better. You know, I know he's not faced the right lot this season, but he's arguably been one of the better players that we've had this year as well. So, yeah, and then I think, you know, going back to your original question of is there anybody else, I think you've got to give credit to, you know, the whole team in general, because the occasion, granted, I've already kind of, you know, ripped into Blackburn fans for them making it the occasion that it was, but there was a little bit more to this occasion than there has been in the past. You're not playing, you know, National League, you know, Blackburn Rovers anymore. You're playing League Two version Blackburn Rovers. Like, this isn't like, you know, this isn't the awful team that we've been watching for the last 3 or 4 years. This is a little bit more of a different team. And I think the players handled it quite well. I think they, you know, they went through the motions a little bit at the start, but I think they really deserve all the credit. And that midfield three as well is just dead set for the entire season, because that was again another key part as to why we managed to win that game.
Yeah, completely agree. I just quickly want to digress a little bit, because Sui says it's until 2026, so the 1 year next season was a 4-year deal from 2022. Chris has just said something in the private chat as well, which says BBC say 4-year deal starting in 22-23. This is where the confusion's come from. So I'm going to bring something in for you all now. This is from the official Burnley website that, as you can see up here, was done in 2022, 3-year deal from Manchester City. So they say, I think Chris has nailed it when he says it's probably a 3-year deal with an option. That's probably where the confusion has come from with other websites. But the club themselves said 3-year deal there. And I seem to remember somebody screenshotting a tweet that said it was a 4-year deal, where the club said, linking this article, I think, that it was a 4-year deal. But I think you're right, Chris. I think it's probably 3 with an option, but I have had messages of people saying that he can talk to people now, but these aren't people with any connections that I'm aware of. So yeah, be interesting. So fingers crossed. You are right, Chris, and we have we have an option where we can extend it if we want, because he's absolutely brilliant, and it'd be silly of us to have somebody like that walk out for free, wouldn't it?
I think he could only talk to foreign clubs, so he couldn't talk to any English ones.
Is it? I don't know. Because he's younger, isn't it? So the rule's a bit different.
Yeah, I think he could only talk to foreign clubs, if another club outside of your own country, on a pre-contract thing. So.
Well, that's just where the confusions come from anyway. So I just quickly thought I'd share that. So everyone knows why I thought that, because everyone else will seem to be saying that I'm wrong, and I might be, but that's why I think that. Anybody else that anybody wants to highlight before we go into the man of the match shouts? I want to quickly talk about Connor Roberts. I just feel like he puts in 7 out of 10s every single week, and he's probably the most underrated player in the squad. He's another one who is out of contract. We don't know if CJ is, obviously. But he's another one that's out of contract in the summer. And the contract has apparently been offered to him, as has Brownhill, but they've not signed yet. But what I will say is yesterday, he wasn't celebrating like somebody who was expecting to leave in the summer. I know you get carried away in the moments and stuff, but I don't know. I was looking at what he was doing, grabbing the club crest and stuff like that. Maybe I was looking into it too much and just thinking that he doesn't look like a player that wants to join Swansea. I know Swansea is his club and it's his love, so fair enough. But he didn't feel like that kind of guy. But yeah, I just thought I wanted to give a shout out about Connor because I thought he was fantastic. Is anybody else that anyone wants to mention? I know you've mentioned the midfielders, Sam, but anyone feel free to jump in. Is there any player that hasn't really been mentioned?
I think for me... Oh, sorry, mate. Sorry.
No, go on, Sam. No, you're all right.
You sure? Yeah. No, for me, backing up what Joe said about Connor, and then obviously I have to do my weekly love of Josh Brownhill, simply because, like you've just mentioned there,
Kieran's going to be fuming, mate.
I know, but I don't care. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, for me, it's been part of the reason why I've kind of pushed like that feeling that I get when I watch Brownhill play. Is not always do I want to see, like, we all know that he's a number 10 now. That's easily his position, and for me, he's the best number 10 in the league.
Yeah.
But the thing that him and Connor give you is that experience of a derby, and they've experienced some derbies now, and they know what it means to the club and to the fans to win those games. And that's not always easy for a new player to hear. If for example, Humphreys, if Connor and Brownhill aren't there, that they might not know how this occasion feels. Okay, it's bigged up on social media and all that type of stuff, but having players that have played that situation, and you could see the way that Brownhill celebrated and the way that Connor Roberts celebrated, it's not a holding back celebration. It's a try to rub it into your neighbour's face. That's what we do as fans. And respectfully, we'd take it if they won. We'd have to. We wouldn't want it to happen, but you'd have to take it on the chin because it's part of football. But the thing that those two gave you, and especially in those celebrations, you got Brownhill running to the camera saying, we own this place and that type of thing. You've got Connor Roberts who's celebrating right in the steward's ear because he's blocked him off celebrating. Like, that's the passion that you want to see. And not only do you get, for me, when Brownhill's in that 10 role, you get a guaranteed 8 out of 10 performance every time he plays there. But you also get a player who understands the club, who understands the fans and knows exactly what Burnley fans want to see. And those celebrations are just a testament to two players that have been at the club for a long time who are deserving of new contracts. But if they don't end up taking them, what servants have been to the club regardless? If they do move on, like, they've been immense for the club. So rather than, worrying about it, like, I'm just enjoying them both while they're here because they've been absolutely unreal.
Kieran Phillips, I know Kieran personally, and this is a moment for you to save us, Sam. Kieran Phillips has admitted that not that he was wrong, but he's admitted that Brownhill has been. This is the president of the anti-Josh Brownhill fan club. He said, hands up, Brownhill has been immense of late. So, Sam, your Brownhill prop, I think, well, not your Brownhill prop, but your Brownhill prop mixed with Brownhill himself, because he's been moved further forward. and been playing better recently, has changed Kieran's mind. So I think everybody should be happy with that. Andrew, you wanted to jump in?
Yeah, I just want to carry on what you and Sam have said about Connor Roberts, because I think he was thrown massively under the bus last year by company. We all know that he's not the best Premier League right back. Like, he's not the best right back for the Premier League. We all know that, but he came in and did the job as we, under Dyche when we got relegated, and he's just been solid for us. Like, I think last year when he got chucked out to Leeds, it sort of looked like the end of his Burnley career. Like, he put a few things on Insta, didn't he? And like, he's falling in love with Leeds, and that were it. And he was going to go there. And even at the start of the season, like, he was the one player that if we shipped him out, I wouldn't have been asked at all. And for me, now at the start of January, he's one of the best. Like, been one of the best players for me this season. He puts in 100%. And like you say, if we offer him a new contract and he doesn't accept it, same as Brownhill, like, the two of them have given us everything. They've given us some of the best, years of their career. They've been absolutely fantastic. And then celebrations yesterday, like Brownhill shoving Fleming, but like, he's helping Fleming stick the shirt on the corner flag. Like, thank you, John. He's like shoved Fleming over to the corner flag to actually do that celebration. Like, everyone, they've all just bought in, and I think it just sort of shows like the impact that Roberts has, the impact that Brownhill has in that dressing room. Like, even Barnes after the game, like Sarmiento, Loren, I can't remember the other two. Like, they're shoving him forward to celebrate. Like, that's a lad who has only been here since, like, he's only been in the building for 2 days, if that. And these are players who've never played with him before. Like, you can see that the whole team now has this, like, group thing, whereas before they were just mercenaries here for football. But yeah, shout out to Roberts and Brownhill.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Man of the match shouts then. Well, this will be the last question. But man of the match shouts then. Get your comments in. Who was your man of the match? I will obviously put the man of the matches on screen. GST says, man of the match is Andy's bomb-proof Nokia 3310. To be fair, like he said earlier, I don't know if he said it in the chat, actually, on screen, actually. He might have just said it in the private chat. He's gone off his laptop and is now using his phone. So this is why Andrew now looks much better. So it is a laptop issue, Andrew. It's not your internet issue. But yeah, Clarets Blue 1882 says, man of the match, Cullen. CJ says CP. Kurt Lehman says CJ without a doubt. Hanaz says Cullen. Fleming close. But Fleming close with the goal, says CP. Andy Benny says Cullen. Josh Cullen says Pro Wall. So more people leading towards Josh Cullen, to be fair. Sui does say CJ there, and Jack O'Callaghan says CJ. Twin Cities says CJ, bringing it back for CJ. Now CJ's in the running, as Harry also says CJ. CJ Gunriley says Rick Williams. On that note, because I'm singing, I don't want to, very briefly singing. We'll go through the panel. Chris, we'll start with you. Your man of the match, please, mate.
CJ. But for all the reasons we just mentioned, he was a brick wall yesterday. There was no getting past him. Honourable mention to Cullen. Like, I was surprised actually to see so many people mention him. Like, I thought he would have gone under the radar, but as someone said in the comments earlier, they tried to bully him off the pitch, and even though he's just a little lad, you won't bully Josh Cullen. And I thought he was fantastic yesterday. Stood up to him, and I've said on here before, and I think we've all kind of agreed on it. Whenever Cullen plays well, Burnley win games. It's that simple. Like, if Cullen performs, Burnley perform and win games, get results, whatever you want to say. So that, I think Cullen a close second.
Fair enough, Andrew.
Yeah, I think it's CJ. Like, thought obviously, like I said before, I thought Steve played well. Thought Fleming did well for the goal. I could give him man of the match just for his celebrations after, just to wind them lot up. But yeah, it's CJ. Cullen played well. Fleming did all right. Steve did all right. But there's not much more to say on him, is there? It's got to be CJ.
Yep. JK says Matt Torgay. I presume that's tongue in cheek. Sam, your man of the match, please, mate.
He's taken my joke. No, I'm joking. Mine's going to Kieran. I think that's absolutely incredible that he's agreed with me finally. So I think it has to go to Kieran personally. If we're talking Burnley,
that's not the first shout for Kieran, by the way, because Joey Shilling there on screen says man of the match for me. It was Kieran Phillips as he didn't sell his ticket. There you go. He's had 2 shouts today in this chat.
I think for me, I think it's got to be somebody in that midfield 3, and I think out of the midfield 3, I think it's got to be Cullen. I completely agree with Chris. When he has a good game, we have a good game. Because I do feel like he's that anchor. I feel like he's that player that when he gets going and he plays his style of play, he's able to win the ball and distribute quickly. I think that's how he wants to play. But I also think I don't think he's the type of central midfielder that likes to be, parked, right next to the centre half, constantly receiving the ball and playing it to a fullback and then receiving the ball again and spinning and playing it to the opposite fullback. Like, I know that's his game, but one of the things that we like to see from Josh Cullen is in and around that penalty area, get the ball and spread it across quickly to each one to get the balls into the box. That's how well we play. It's how we've got that fantastic goal against Watford when Brownell's. I don't know. Can't remember. When we scored that unreal passing goal. There's been that many good goals I can't even remember. But I think for me, it's got to be Cullen. I just thought he bossed that midfield. Yeah,
fair enough. Sorry, I didn't mean to put that on screen there. For me, I'll give mine now. I think it's CJ Egan-Riley for me. Excuse me. Cullen a very close second with Connor Roberts. Thought them two were. Thing is with Cullen and Connor, you're consistent with them, especially Connor. You're consistent. He's dropping, like I said earlier, 7 out of 10 every single week. With Cullen, I completely agree. He needs to play well for us to play well. And I thought they were both fantastic yesterday. So that's why we played well. But for me, CJ Egan-Riley, he was head and shoulders, in my opinion, better than anybody in that pitch. He was pinging balls around left, right and centre, winning everything in the air, as Chris said earlier, making brilliant interceptions. He was just all-round fantastic. And I'm absolutely gobsmacked, by the way. I've been on Who Scored. I don't know why I use it. I know they just use stats rather than using their eyes. But they've given man of the match to Danny Bath at Blackburn, which I find absolutely staggering. Because he should have conceded a penalty. And he did concede a goal, whereas CJ didn't. But yeah. Anything else?
He did well defending that goal, so that's probably why. He did really well defending our goal. So that was really good.
Anything else anyone wants to add before we wrap it up?
15 years and counting.
Long live the Venkies.
Fair enough. Yeah. Hopefully, I've had no comments from any Blackburn fans in this stream. I did think there'd be some, but there's been none. Obviously, who got the official man of the match says JK. I think it was actually CJ on the Twitter account. So, yeah, I think CJ got it on the Twitter
Humphreys
account.
got it on
Happy
Sky.
New Year. Who did? Humphreys?
Humphreys got it on Sky.
Did he? So, yeah, there you go. Humphreys and CJ, sorry. I quickly want to bring something in. I will end it on this. The league table, there we go. Obviously, it's getting quite tight at the top now, and that's my main worry at the minute, is how tight it is at the top. Obviously, Leeds at top on 53 points. Then you've got the mighty Clarets second on 52. Then Sheffield United on our coattails also on 52. And Sunderland have won their last 2. And now they're right back up in it as well. They're on 50. The top 4 are pulling away. Then you've got Middlesbrough, West Brom, Blackburn all the way down in 7th. Have even fallen out of the playoffs now, despite getting giddy that we're only 1 point behind us less than 3 weeks ago. We were yet to play that game week, by the way, but they still put all the tweets up like they usually do. Then you've got Bristol City, Watford and Sheffield Wednesday. It's going to get tight at the top. It already is tight at the top. It's looking like the top 4 teams are all going to reach 90 points or thereabouts. So it's one of them where I think it's going to be tight. I think we've got enough. It all depends on whether Sheffield United invest in the summer and if Leeds actually get a goalkeeper that's worth his salt, because I know that Meslier isn't. But anyway, I'll wrap it up there. obviously I've seen a few people come in and say hello. So like, as the stream was going on, I know people always say nobody says that, but they do. Kieran joined late, for example, and so did Ken. But of course, when I press end stream, this does now stand alone, stays a standalone video on YouTube and Facebook for you to watch on demand, and I will be putting it out as a podcast, available in all the usual places such as iTunes, Spotify, all the rest of them. But thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for all your comments. We beat the bastards. We always do. It's going to be 15 years in 3 months since they last beat us, and even when they did that, that was at the Turf, wasn't it? When they dived for the penalty. Dunn scored the penalty, obviously. But they died for the penalty. So even when they do beat us, they have to cheat. But yeah, 15 years and counting. We beat the bastards. But Chris, Andrew, Sam, thank you for coming on the show.
Anytime.
Pleasure.
Cheers, mate. I'll just quickly put this up from Kieran. I know he's trolling. Breaking news. West Brom agree compensation package with Rovers for Eustace. Just thought I'd put it there just in case it's true, but I'm pretty certain it's a troll because I know what Kieran's like. But thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. And we will see you next time.
Goodbye.